If you remember a little bit earlier, we played a game and we talked about the amount that a conventional mortgage payment would be, or the percentage you would need for down payment on a conventional loan on buying a home. And that's what this panel will be about, not necessarily just mortgage loans or buying a home, but the journey from rent to real estate, whether you're a property owner, you are looking to own properties, or if you are looking to invest in to get a home. The brains that sit on this panel have the information for you and the resources that you need to get there. If you paid attention yesterday to today, some of the things that have been in common, we've talked about being intentional, the partnerships, the sweat equity. Definitely want to keep those things in mind as you get ready to take a home buyer or a property buying journey. So I'll get out of the way and let them talk more about exploring pathways to home ownership and investment, and bring up our moderator for our next panel. From nurse to brokerage owner, empowering communities through real estate, North Little Rock, Arkansas's Shannon Smith. Shannon, we won't hold that against you, that you from the north side, okay? I can say that because I just recently moved from the north side. And I'm not even from here, but I learned real quick that you gotta choose ye this day, North Little Rock or Little Rock, because it's not the same. Okay. From North Little Rock, Arkansas, Shannon Smith, widely known as Shannon Seals Deals, is the principal broker and owner of SSD Realty Group LLC. A devoted wife, mother, nurse, entrepreneur, and leader, Shannon has built her reputation on integrity, compassion, and excellence in service. Since launching her real estate career in 2020, Shannon has rapidly ascended from a newly licensed realtor to a respected broker and business owner. Today, she leads a thriving team at SSD Realty Group, providing clients with a seamless and empowering home buying experience. Shannon knows that if it takes us more than 3 clicks to get where we need to go, we gonna lose interest. So she makes it seamless for you. Her journey stands as a testament to perseverance, faith, and purpose. Shannon's passion for people and her community is further reflected in her ongoing service through HEAT Incorporated, the nonprofit organization she co founded with her husband nearly 22 decades ago. Through this organization, she continues to make a lasting impact by supporting families and youth across Central Arkansas. My journey into real estate began with a personal experience that taught me the importance of education, empathy, and empowerment, Shannon shared. She went on to say, now I'm committed to helping others navigate the home buying process with confidence and peace of mind. My motto says it best: dream it, want it, go get it. Shannon Smith's story is one of faith, perseverance, and community. Through SSD Realty Group, she continues to inspire others to pursue their dreams, invest in their communities, and build legacies rooted in purpose and determination. Please put your hands together for Miss Shannon Smith.
Thank you. Thank you. Listen, this has been an amazing conference. This kicked off, CapitalCon kicked off on Thursday night with a fireside chat with Mayor Scott. Yesterday's conference, the panel was excellent. And so it just keeps getting higher and higher. So I'm happy to be here, and I'm going to introduce our panel. Hold on just a second. Coming first, we have Chris Cunningham. Yay. Let me tell you a little bit about Chris. Chris is actually visiting with us from Alabama. And we won't hold that against him because we are diehard Razorbacks around here. Chris Cunningham is a senior mortgage loan officer and community development manager with over 12 years of experience in the financial industry, helping clients achieve their financial and homeownership goals. Known for his expertise in residential mortgage lending, Chris has built a reputation for combining deep industry knowledge with a client centric approach that emphasizes home ownership, preparation, and education, along with transparency and long term financial success. He has successfully built his mortgage career since inception throughout various organizations such as Better Mortgage, Wells Fargo, Trust Bank, and presently with Hope Federal Credit Union. Throughout his career, Chris has been recognized for his dedication and partnership with community housing agencies such as Village of Promise, Family Services Center of Huntsville, and Huntsville Housing Authority. He is passionate about demystifying the mortgage process and empowering both clients and colleagues to make informed financial decisions. Chris is also a husband and a father to a 3-year-old daughter and spends his time serving on the leadership board of BTO Mentoring Incorporated as a mentor and financial manager. Help me welcome Chris Cunningham to the stage. Next, we will have Tracy Shine. She is the Community Development Manager for the City of Little Rock. Tracy has 22 years of experience as a social service professional, mastering over 17 years of that experience with the Department of Human Services. Currently, serving in the role as the Community Development Manager for the City of Little Rock for the last 5 years under Mayor Frank Scott, where that division has won the National John Sasso Award in 2022 and 2023 for community outreach, project development, and public services. Combining over 20 years of experience in the social service field, working with grant funding and managing social service programs for underserved families, homeless individuals, people with disabilities, and disaster survivors. Her educational background includes earning an MBA from the University of Phoenix after obtaining a Bachelor of Arts from Philander Smith College, HBCU, a proud graduate of Blytheville High School. This 33-year-old resident of Little Rock, Arkansas, was born in Chicago but raised in Blytheville prior to moving to Little Rock. She has experience with church, community service groups, and schools, and she is also a proud member of King Solomon Baptist Church and Delta Sigma Theta. Next, we will bring up Thomas Williams Jr. He is the CRA Mortgage Loan Officer over at U.S. Bank. We know him as TJ. He is born and raised in Little Rock, Arkansas. Thomas is a graduate of University of Arkansas at Little Rock. With over a decade of experience in the mortgage industry, Thomas Williams Jr. is a trusted mortgage lender known for his deep expertise and client-focused approach. Throughout his career, Thomas has helped countless families achieve the dream of home ownership through personalized lending solutions and sound financial guidance. Beyond his professional life, Thomas is passionate about personal growth and balance. He enjoys spending quality time with his family, staying active, and exploring new destinations through travel. His commitment to excellence and authenticity continues to inspire both his clients and colleagues. Welcome, TJ, to the panel. Lastly, we will have Keisha Walker. Keisha is the owner and founder of Dawn Realty and Associates, as well as L&D Development Property, along with her husband, LaBoya Walker. Keisha and LaBoya are the powerhouse couple. They are a powerhouse couple behind two thriving enterprises shaping Arkansas's real estate and development landscape. A minority-owned full-service brokerage and co-owner of a new construction and renovation company. Help me welcome Keisha. She leads with vision, faith, and forward thinking innovation. Under her leadership, Don Realty and Associates has become a community centered brokerage dedicated to mentorship, education, and creating generational wealth through home ownership. Known for her transparency and trailblazing leadership, Keisha continues to bridge the gap between real estate, development, and community empowerment. Her husband and business partner, LaBoya Walker, serves as the driving force behind L&D Investment Properties construction and design excellence. He is also the co-owner of Don Realty and Associates, and with a sharp eye for craftsmanship and modern living, he oversees the development of multi-home projects ranging from 250,000 to over $1 million, bringing high-quality design and long-term value to communities across Central Arkansas. Together, the Walkers are building more than homes, they're building legacy. Help me welcome Keisha Walker to the stage. So, listen, this stage already has a wealth of knowledge. Oh my goodness. I'm so excited for this panel. I was up late studying and just thinking about some of the things that you all will be able to provide to the masses as we are not only here in person, but we will be uploading this to YouTube. So I'm super excited about it. Our overview for this panel is to educate and empower renters and first time homeowners on how to successfully transition into home ownership and build and begin real estate based wealth. So, when you hear that, let me ask you first, Keisha, what first comes to your mind?
Can you hear me? Real estate based wealth. I think of legacy and generational wealth. What are we leaving behind um, for our children and our children's children?
That's good. What about you, Tracy?
I think about adding to your network. Real estate adds to your net worth.
TJ?
I would say breaking generational curse. You might have somebody in your family that's never purchased before. So I think trying to get into the home ownership is essential, and it goes back to getting to that generational wealth by home ownership.
That's good. And Chris, what would you say?
I would say investing in yourself. Going from a renter to a homeowner, the very first benefit of that is you're investing in yourself, you're investing in that generational wealth, and you're bringing equity back into your own pockets, the money that you've been spending on rent for a said amount of years.
That's good. So, Tracy, I'm going to ask you, why is home ownership such an important step towards building long term wealth?
I'll piggyback on my first response. Of course, it adds to your net worth. It also adds collateral to your assets. And it places you in a position to pass down wealth to the generations to come.
TJ, how has the real estate landscape changed for first time buyers in recent years?
Well, of course, we all know that with COVID, the rates and lumber, everything increased. But also with that, with those things increasing, the interest rates went up. So 3 or 4 years ago, 2, 3, 4%. Everybody was buying. Now we're at 5, 6, 7%, and so the entry level for a first-time home buyer is hard. So where $150,000 could get you, you know, $1,200 to $1,300 a month. That same $150,000 could put you at $2,000 a month. And so that home ownership with the rate increasing and everything going up, it just made it a little harder, not impossible, but a little harder for home buyers to get into their entry home right now.
So, Keisha, from your perspective as a realtor, what are the first steps someone should take when they're ready to buy a home?
I would say speaking with a lender. As a realtor, it is not our job to tell you or look into what your finances are or what your credit score is. The lender will be able to tell you what that credit score is, what you need to work on, any debt to income ratio, and how that impacts your ability to purchase a home. If you do start out with a real estate agent or a realtor, they will tell you to speak with a lender. So that will be the very first step because we can only show you homes, we can educate you on the process, but we cannot tell you what you're credit worthy of.
What are the most common misconceptions renters have about buying?
I can't buy a home. Um, my rent is already high. I'm going to be paying more to purchase a home than I am renting a home. And again, it's important to speak with a real estate agent to understand what that may look like for you because some buyers don't know. You're paying for someone else's vacation. You're paying for someone else's child's tuition. So it's important to understand the collateral that you have or the equity that you have that you could reuse to help your children or creating a legacy for them.
And you know, one of the things that I know as a realtor too, one of the things I hear is, oh my gosh, I can't afford it. Oh my gosh, I didn't know I could. And so our job is to educate. And so educating and providing that knowledge that yes, it's possible. It's just some things that we didn't know, that we didn't learn growing up. And so now that we know, we have to pass that on.
I want to piggyback on something, Shannon, as far as things that they believe that they have to work at a job for 20,000 years before being eligible. Their credit score and the interest rate or purchasing a home will be the only home that they will have for the rest of their lives. So there's some of the myths that come with first-time home buyers that is not true.
Exactly.
I would say another one is I was speaking with a lender, and we were talking about young men who have been incarcerated. They come out thinking that I can't purchase a home. I can't purchase a home. I won't have the ability to do so. However, I learned from that lender, if that individual had a job prior to being incarcerated, when they come out, they could still purchase a home. It's about speaking to that lender, speaking to that lender and providing whatever W-2s or tax returns before they went into the prison system and then coming out. And if they have a job at that time, it's all about asking questions and again, speaking to that lender.
And can I just say
Yeah,
that,
go ahead.
you know, people on this stage, we have to really view ourselves as community advocates in the homeownership space. It goes beyond our titles of loan officer, CRA specialist, realtor, broker. It's up to us to change that paradigm in our community. We have to be the ones having these seminars, these workshops, getting out in front of the masses and educating them because they don't know.
Yeah.
Even with the immense amount of resources that we have, it's all high level. It's all highlighted. You know, we're in a social media age where, you know, everyone's talking about the benefits and, you know, you can do this, you can do that, but we have to educate them on what that really means.
And it's all about the education. We have to continue these conversations in the community, reaching people that they don't hear these things on an everyday basis. I tell the story all the time. My mom actually purchased her first home when I was an adult. And so I remember the joy in the family, the excitement, the tears. And so that has always stuck in the back of my mind. So first time home buyers are always considered my babies. I absolutely love them. I love working with them. And it's because I remember the experience that my mom had.
One more point about the myths out there. The myth is there's only one way to purchase a home, financing. You can purchase it cash, you can inherit it, you can go to the auction. So that's another myth that first-time home buyers are running away from attempting to purchase their first home because they assume it's only one way to purchase a home.
I have one more, and this is a pet peeve of mine. Well, I could just go to a credit repair person and they could just clean my credit real quick. And then in 30 to 60 days, I could purchase a home. No, that's your credit. That's your debt. You have to deal with that debt the right way. Get with a financial credit counselor. They will assist you in whatever that may look like. Speak to a lender first so they could scan your credit report to see what you need to work on and what you don't need to work on, because sometimes if you mess with a certain account, it just opens that door back open. So no, you cannot clean your credit report. You can't do that because it's going to come back eventually. You're still going to have to deal with it. There's no, I call them fly-by-night credit repair people. And it's just not legal, and it's just not going to fix your problem.
TJ, I will ask you, what does financially ready look like for a potential home buyer?
So I would say, and if you know me, I'm gonna start with a budget. I'm a budget person, and I think it's important, and because the budget sets the foundation for what you can afford. So if you don't have a budget and you come see a good loan officer like us, and I'm talking to you about your debt to income, and you're thinking to myself, well, I pay $800 in rent. I can make a $2,000 mortgage payment. I don't think so. Because if your DTI is not in line, you can't afford it. So I think by having a budget on paper, not in your head, but on paper or on a spreadsheet to say, okay, I got this much money coming in, I got this much going out, how much can I really afford? You could come up with your own game plan before you even step in the office of a lender. And so by having a spreadsheet, even after you buy a house, is important because you can save, you can pay off debt, you can do a lot of things with a budget. But if you don't have the foundation, it's going to hurt you. And then I would say, know what your credit is. Not saying Credit Karma is bad, but you want to make sure that you have a good picture of your credit before you come into a lender's office. Deal with your collections. If you have a hospital bill that's $300, go ahead and pay it off. If you have a credit card that you stop, making the payments on because you got mad at the bank, take care of that. You want to do yourself. You want to be right before you come in and talk to a lender about buying a home. I mean, those simple steps could save you weeks, months if you just take care of it now. So I would recommend, this is what I personally do myself. Once you get your debt to income ratio, and how you calculate that, which you probably already know, you take your gross income and you divide that by your monthly payments. And whatever that percentage is going to be, hopefully it's a percentage. If you get a 1 point something, we in trouble. Because for every dollar, and what that shows is for every dollar you spend, whatever that number is, that's how much debt you have going out. So you want that number to be as low as possible, right? But what I would recommend on paying off debt, the snowball effect. I've always done that. So I take the smallest debt I have and I throw all my money towards it. And whatever the monthly payment was on it, I take that monthly payment plus the extra money and I go to my next debt, and I do that all the way down until you essentially don't have any debt. That right there might take 6, 12 months depending on how much debt you have, or it may take 2 months or whatever it is, but you have to be consistent with it. You have to say, okay, I got to pay this debt off, scratch it out, and then we move into the next one, right? So you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable to get out of this debt. That's right there is the biggest barrier to home ownership is debt. that we take on ourselves when we really don't have to. You at dealers, you say, well, you can get 10% off. Yeah, it's nice, but you got to make a better decision. Do I really need this credit card right now? Right. So you just have to make better decisions. To get that debt to income down as you need it to be to qualify.
And to piggyback off of that, to help accomplish that goal, you need to do a written budget expense plan. You need to know
Budget.
where every single penny of your money is going and see where you can free up some disposable income so you can apply the snowball effect to your debts, apply more to getting those debts down quicker. I Guys, I have worked with every demographic of borrower you can think of, okay? And I do mean every. And 98% of the time, there is somewhere, no matter how little you make, no matter how much you make, no matter what your debts are, no matter your life situation, because it looks different for every single person in this room, there is somewhere when it comes to achieving this long-term goal that's going to change the dynamic of your family going forward, that you can discipline yourself or make what we call a trade-off or make a sacrifice in your expenses somewhere. You just need to know where every single penny is going and say, okay, I know I can stop going to McDonald's at least 2 more times out the week, you know, or grabbing that coffee from Starbucks or et cetera. You can make it happen. It just takes behavioral finances and psychology. It starts in the mind, shifting that mindset.
You can also
Got it.
Google zero debt. There's a budget, zero budget, I'm sorry. There's a form that you can actually print out, and it talks about the snowball effect. Um, I'm not a huge fan of Dave Ramsey, but those are some of the things that I do appreciate. My husband and I have used those tools for quite some time. But yes, the zero budget, you can print it out every month. One of the things I love about it is that it includes tithes.
I got a question over here, but I just want to piggyback on debt again. Keep a relationship with your debt, as Chris stated about the credit history. When you're looking at your credit report, keep a relationship with your debt. Write it all down, the amount that you owe, and whatever your plan is for your debt. And we had a question over here.
Real quick, for those who are thinking about purchasing a home, you don't want to go to a lender right now because you're scared that he's going to look at your credit score, your credit report, or whatever. Can you talk about how important the credit simulation is on Experian, I think.com and MyFICO?
Yeah. So that is really good. So you might have to pay for it, but those are the type of we pay for a lot of stuff. If you want to buy a house, that is something that you might have to pay for, okay? And so what it does is it'll say if your credit score comes back at say 525, if you press this button and it'll give you a simulation of if you pay X off, if you pay this credit card down, and it gives you to the specific amount, you have an 85 probability of your score increasing by 60 points, right? And that might cost say $100. Is that $100 how much? Lord, 19.99. So $20, is that $20 worth getting you where you need to be in the next of your home buying journey? Like those are the type of questions you got to ask yourself. Are you really? And that's like, are you serious? If I am, this is my game plan to get my score where it needs to be.
I think this young man in the white shirt has a question. All right, Naya.
Yeah.
Naya, I'm sorry.
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Naya Payton. I serve with the city. So my question is, we talked about the housing plan. So I have a couple questions actually. The first one is, what types of things need to be included in that housing plan? Like, what should you have set up? And I'm pretty young, so there's like a rent versus buy type of thing. What is the best situation for somebody who has nothing, right? I don't really have a lot of responsibilities. My only responsibility is to take care of myself. And so, would it be wise for me to go ahead and look into buying a home, or would it be smarter for me to rent because I'm not, just wholly established? So those are my two questions. The first one, housing plan steps, what type of things, and then rent versus buy for a young person.
Just real quick with the housing plan. Of course, we always start off with the budget, and then we're going to end with what you desire, and then we put all of the tips in between. But as far as renting and buying, I always say talk to a professional, talk to a realtor, because you're comparing and contrasting. And we know if we're comparing rent rate versus mortgage rates, we know where you probably going to lean towards because one is higher than the other. But I always say talk to a professional about the options for both, and then you make the decision. But a housing plan always starts with the budget and then what the end goal is going to be in mind.
Yeah.
And Naya, we can talk outside.
I look at the emergency plan. What does a house encompass, right? You have your principal, you have your interest, but what if that house burns down, right? How are you going to rebuild or repair or replenish that house? So you have homeowners insurance, right? And then you have to think about, oh, my hot water heater is gone out. I have to call my landlord. That money has to come from somewhere, right? So just setting aside money for your emergency, that's going to be important. So talk to a lender, talk to a realtor to see what all does purchasing a house encompass, and that's going to give you everything that you need to know.
And real quick, I would just say I love what I do, but I know home ownership is not for everybody. You know, some people don't want to have to go out there and cut the grass. Like it's small things that you don't think about. You know, when you buying a house, and when you get in here, you're like, man, I got to do all this. You know, so you want to talk to somebody that owns a house. Like, tell me about it. You know, well, I got to cut the grass every week. You know, I got to make sure that we take the trash out, whatever that is. You'll be surprised that what you have to do to maintain the house, let alone make the payments. So there's a lot that goes into owning a home and making it yours.
And something I think about too is knowing where you are in your life. At what stage of your life are you in? That's important when it comes to home ownership because home ownership is a commitment. Renting, not so much. You may be in a short term commitment as far as a lease or what have you, but still, ultimately, you can pack up and go. With a home, if you pack up and go, you still got to pay that mortgage payment. So knowing where you are in your life, and especially if you're in that stage where you're a young adult, you're figuring out your career, figuring out, am I going to permanently stay in this area? Do I want to move in the next couple of years, et cetera, et cetera? You know, again, going back to planning, whether it's house planning, budgeting, life planning, no, write it on paper what you see for yourself in the next couple of years, so that because that will help you determine when will I be ready for home ownership, and most importantly, to piggyback on what he said, start creating an emergency fund for home ownership. So when those little instances arise, whether it be repairs, renovation, some type of expense that your homeowner's insurance or even your home warranty may not pay for, you've got something put to the side so it doesn't create, financial stress for you.
And I would say, in the set where you are in your life, after you would speak with one of the lenders, I would be showing you some of the beautiful condos in downtown Little Rock, overlooking the Arkansas River. See me afterwards.
Can I say one thing, Kim? For my homeowners, if you're doing work in your home, you've been living there, you've changed the floors, changed the roofs, and all of the things, please call your homeowner insurance, please. Because if that house burned down, how would they know you changed their roof off? How would they know you put granite countertops in? How would they know that you've improved that home? I'm sorry.
Great, I'm next. Okay. Hi, I'm Stan Smith from Together Hub. Us. I have a plug, Getting There, Successful 007 for Anyone, is a book that will get you there. It's actually about wealth building and generational wealth and all what we're talking about here. We're talking about sharing, we're talking about planning, and that is all in that book as well. But I have a thing here where since we're talking about sharing, and you guys all sharing, I think this is an excellent panel. All right, I've got a lot of information from you all. Where is this information? I know it's on websites, different websites and stuff, so forth. But here's the thing. Right now, here's my question, I should say. How do you balance the cost of these homes out here that may be overpriced with your clients that's going and wanting a house house that you know is overpriced, but yet you're still giving, that lending or guiding them in that direction? How do you balance that?
I think you show them the difference for one, because the same way that you say the houses may be overpriced, the rent keeps going up. So market rent now, I can tell you, I have rental properties that are renting for 1,800 a month. That is well over an average mortgage. So I think it's just a matter of where you are in your life, um, living within your means, and deciding what exactly it is you want.
And I
And
kind of get a twitch.
sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
When you say the houses are overpriced, because we listen to the market and we provide comps and we show the difference. And then I also go to the HUD site and look at the renting, the market for the rent. And then that, my husband and I, we have rental property, so that's how we kind of base it as well. So there is a range. And so we look at the neighborhoods and look at what's feasible and what's affordable at that time so that we can meet our renters where they are.
And that was a very analytical question, I feel like. So you can look at it from a data standpoint as well. I'm not a data analyst now, but I do try to analyze the market as much as I can. And historically, home prices, home prices have built 3.5 to 4% year over year, whereas rent prices have increased on average of 6% year over year. And a lot of you can go to the Federal Reserve website. There's a lot of data there. You can go to a lot of these real estate sites, Zillow, Realtor.com. You can type in an area that you're interested in, and it will kind of show you, similar to what she's referring to, it will show you recent sale comparables, data in that area to kind of see, what is the average price point for that area. It will show you the percentage of increase, the percentage of decrease. It's a lot of analytics that you can see for free through some of these websites too, that can kind of help you determine, am I overpaying, et cetera, et cetera. But ultimately, these ladies right here, the expertise in that field, they can definitely make sure you're making an informed decision.
Hello, my name is Gabrielle, and similar to what you said, when you have someone that's paying rent of $1,300, and you say that if you get a mortgage, typically that mortgage payment is well less than that amount. How do you, I guess, how would you justify for somebody that is technically not ready to buy the home, like they don't have all the things in place, but they can afford the $1,300, but you're saying I'm not ready for the mortgage. Does that make sense?
Yeah, when I say you're not so much you're not ready for the mortgage, but it's more that goes into it. Just paying. Okay, you're renting at 1,300, but now you got to pay 1,250 for a mortgage. But it's more to just paying the 1,250 is what I mean. So for instance, once you close, we might have to buy a washer. We might have to buy a dryer. We might have to buy a refrigerator if the refrigerator then if you have to buy a new refrigerator. So when I say you close on a house, but then you got to live in that house and maintain that house. That's why I say like it's a little different when you're renting. If something is broke, you can just call the office leasing company, office leasing, and they'll come and have somebody come and fix it. You might have to call a handyman, take off work to have him come to your house, and that's what I mean by it's a lot that goes on to just making the monthly payment. Where in renting, it's a little easy. If something break, you just call somebody. You got to find and get the resources and make sure that they, one, do the job correctly. Because if they don't, if you do it cheap, it's gonna cost you even more. So that's why I mean, like it's just a lot that goes into that mortgage payment every month. Is what I mean. Not saying that you're not ready, but it just I would say we can have a conversation afterwards, like after we close on that house, like what's next steps. A lot of times customers don't think about next steps. We got to the closing table, we got the keys, we move in. Okay, say you're renting right now at a 2 bedroom. Now you're going to a 3 bed, 2 bath. You might have to buy a whole new bedroom suite, and that might be what $1,000. Do you have that right now to get that other room up and going. So that's what I mean by like it's a lot more than just making a mortgage payment every month.
Pest control and insurance.
And I'll say from personal experience, utilities too. I mean, just in the last house I moved into, the utilities jumped from what I was accustomed to. You know, it was a culture shift for me. I was like, oh, okay. How did this come to be? So, especially coming from a renter to a homeowner, it's very likely you'll see a shift in things like that. Some of the monthly expenses that you pay for just to live, utilities, cable, internet, just depending on what was bundled in your rent price. That may not be bundled anymore. You're responsible for that now. You know, you have to think about some of those things.
And I don't want to scare you. We just want to educate you.
Just reality.
We just want to educate you when that time comes that you're ready, and you don't want to be caught blindsided. And you calling one of us mad, like hold on, So we just want to us other realtors, we just want to educate you on what's going on. That's all.
I like the idea of Gabrielle, you actually meeting with TJ possibly afterwards, setting up a plan with him, whether it's a 3-month plan, a 6-month plan, maybe it's a year, to get you where you need to be, to put you in position to be able to purchase a home. A lot of times we have the thought, we have the desire, but we don't set the plan in action. And so when you actually sit down with the lender, that is literally taking the first step. And now you have an action plan. I'm a firm believer in action plans. And then you just start checking things off the list that he's going to give you. And this time next year, you're a homeowner.
I feel like you were already in my head from the details about what my apartment looks like right now to what I want to go to. So I feel like we're aligned already. Um, but is there a such thing as someone that's a fast track to a home buyer? So if you have a client that comes to you and they say, "Well, my lease is over in 6 months, and I want to purchase a home," is there such thing as a fast track, or no? We about to bake some bread. We got to take it slow.
I don't think it's a fast track. I think it's being honest where you are and being honest with yourself because only you know what your capacity is. We could sit up here and spew all this information all day long, but it boils back down and it points back to you.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, like she said, there's programs out there where if you need a house tomorrow, we can make it happen. But are you making a logical decision for yourself, right? If your lease ends in 6 months, even so, absolutely, your lease ends in 6 months. But does it make more sense to
Break that lease right now today.
right?
Because if I'm your lender, I'm gonna ask you this. This is my first question. If you want to buy right now, if you break this lease, are you ready to pay for that? 'Cause they not some will, some won't, but sometimes they're not gonna let you just walk away. You still owe them 6 months. So those are the type of questions that I'm asking you. Like, are you ready to do that? So not to cut you off,
Oh
sorry.
no, you good.
But those are the type of things that we will be having a conversation about. If you're ready in 6 months, so are you ready to break this lease and pay extra to get into the house 6 months earlier?
Or maybe do you need to go talk to the leasing agent or the property management landlord and say, hey, this is my goal in the next couple of months, but I need a little bit more time. Do you have any short-term leasing options or month-to-month leasing options until you are prepared to take that next step?
And 6 months is actually a great plan.
It is.
You know, when you get with TJ here, he can give you a 6-month plan. There may be some bills that you need to pay off. He may advise you to get a secured credit card that you need to pay on a couple months to increase your trade lines or your credit score. So, I mean, 6 months, if you have 6 months, that's a great timeline that he can work with.
We have a resource for a follow-up question, and then there's one more question.
This is a quick resource since we all are in here to share helpful information. I was in a meeting the other day, and one gentleman was talking about how it's an AI resource. You all know we're going towards AI, right? So if you want something to help with your credit, it's called Dovly.com. Dovly, it's an app.com. And the guy who was in the meeting, he said it has increased his credit score tremendously. It's an AI powered tool, Dovly.com.
Thank you.
Okay. And I have the last question. Because you all have talked about preparing, getting ready to purchase a home. But when the applicant or buyer is been approved and in the process of getting the home, and they know they're approved, they're picking out the home, but they're ready to furnish it, they're ready to get the things they need to get for it. What are the recommendations, or what do you tell the borrower who just got approved, working towards closing, about getting new accounts, about spending? Because when they get to the closing table, you're going to do something again, and they may not get to sign on that day.
We call that the 10 Commandments of do nots of mortgage.
Do not, do not, do not.
Do not, do not, do not. No, we actually have a 10 Commandments list of the do nots of what not to do. But in respect to that question, don't do it. Don't go financing any furniture. Don't go open up any new accounts. Don't go buy a new car. In fact, make up in your mind before you decide you want to go buy a home. What's the most important to you? Do you want that new fancy car, or do you want that home that's going to provide a roof over you and your family's head for generations to come, right? Um, I've seen it happen, guys. It can literally change the the approval of you getting that mortgage by going out buying furniture for the home. We know you're excited. We know you're excited. We know you're ready to make it your own, and you will have that opportunity. But let's get the keys in hand first, right?
And that's not a myth. That's not a myth. So don't do it.
Yeah,
Don't
you
do it.
can't change your so how you qualified is how you got to close. So you can't change, your income, not your income, but your credit overall picture. So what we qualified you on, we're hoping that's how you're gonna close on. Meaning, if you don't have any credit cards, we don't need you to open up a credit card before we get to closing. We don't need you to, like I've seen people quit their job before they go to closing thinking because we so close that they not, we here, we signed, we're still gonna follow up to make sure you're still working. So we can do not, if you ready, when that process come, do not change anything. Just keep doing what you've been doing.
And I'm a realist, right? So I understand things happen, unpredictable circumstances, and your only resource might be to pull out that credit card, or your car broke down and now you can't get from point A to point B. And I'm also trying to buy a home. How am I going to get to work if I don't go buy another car? The very first thing you need to do is come talk to us. Come talk to us. Tell us about the situation. We want to know so we can see how we need to pivot to ensure your success to still get into the closing table despite that unfortunate circumstance.
Okay, and that last question, how you qualified is how you close. That's your hashtag for today. How you qualified is how you close.
So we'll let everyone go around and let everyone know how they can contact you.
All right, y'all. So I can be reached. I'm with Hope Federal Credit Union. You can reach me. Email is Chris CHRIS.Cunningham CUNNINGHAM at hopecu.org. You can also reach me by cell 256-871-9476 or 205-566-6453. Also follow me on Instagram. Mr. You Can Own Too. That's Mr. You Can Own Too, TOO, on Instagram.
Okay.
I'll be more than happy to speak to anyone. Thank you.
I don't have an Instagram that's work related, so I can't do that. But you can reach out to me. I'm Thomas with U.S. Bank. You can reach out to me 501-541-5271, and then my email address is thomas.williamsjr@usbank.com.
City of Little Rock, you can follow us on our social media page, Housing and Neighborhood Programs, or under Housing and Neighborhood Programs on the city website on the webpage under the departments.
You can reach me at Keisha. Oh, I'm sorry.
at Keisha, Keisha, at donrealty.homes, HOMES, www.donrealty.homes, HOMES, or my phone number 501-444-8055.
And I am Shannon Smith, Shannon Seals Deals. You can find me on all social media platforms at Shannon Seals Deals. 501-952-3422 SSD Realty Group. Thank you guys for coming out. I want to thank the panel. This was excellent. Listen, I'm sorry, you
Thanks for
guys, we
having me.
went over time, I know, but this was really good, and I hope it was beneficial to you all. And make sure you tell somebody to tell somebody. CapitalCon is here. We've got workshops following up, and also look for it next year. It's going to be bigger and better.